week 18 already of the fantasy baseball season, and here's a few pitchers I've looked to pick up and add on the waiver wire this week. The first guy is Joshua Gray of the Washington Nationals. So obviously the Nationals traded Trey Turner and Max Scherzer a couple weeks ago at the trade deadline, and Joshua Gray was the headliner in that deal and the most ready player as well in the trade. So far in the early going of his career, 18 innings on the season, no decisions at all, 15 hits, 8 earned runs, 6 homers, 9 walks, 25 strikeouts, a 4 ERA, and a 1.33 whip. So far he hasn't really gone deep into games here as Gray. But we know the upside. We know he's been one of the top pitching prospects in all the major leagues. In the last couple of weeks here since going to Washington, 10 innings pitched, 8 hits, 2 earned runs, 2 homers, giving up 4 walks, 12 Ks, a 1.80 ERA, and a 1.20 whip. So right here, not the greatest in numbers. He's been a 5-inning pitcher, like I mentioned, over the first few weeks here with Washington, but he's getting high strikeout rates. That NL East isn't the greatest of divisions, especially hitting the baseball. And right now he's going out there and he's still giving you no runs given up and a high strikeout rate. So the last few outings from July 25th at Baltimore, 4 innings, 3 hits, 2 earned runs, a homer, 4 walks, 6 Ks, a 4.50 ERA, 1.75 whip with a no decision. August 2nd versus Philly, 5 innings, no decision, 4 hits, 1 run, 1 homer, 2 walks, 2 Ks, a 1.80 ERA, and a 1.20 whip. And then August 7th at the Braves, 5 innings, 4 hits, an earned run, a homer, 2 walks, 10 Ks, 1.80 ERA, and a 1.20 whip. So Gray here, we see the upside. We see what he's capable of doing. Now the next step for him is to go a little deeper into games and his walk rate to go down a bit. But right now, he's still out there in an amazing 68% of fantasy leagues. And with his upside and of the last few games he's been pitching well, I would go out there and get Gray because I think he could pay big dividends for your team, even though he's on a struggling national team that's obviously rebuilding for the rest of the season. Next pitch is called Quantrill of the Cleveland Indians. So Quantrill, he's pretty much come out of nowhere over the last few weeks, and Quantrill's been added in 7% of fantasy leagues over the last few days on the season. For Quantrill, 91 2/3, 3-2 record, 84 hits, 32 earned runs, 8 homers, 30 walks, 71 strikeouts, a nice 3.14 ERA, and a 1.24 whip with 5 quality starts in the last couple weeks here for Quantrill. 19 innings, 1-0 record, 11 hits, 1 earned run, a homer, 5 walks, 21 strikeouts, an 0.47 ERA, and an 0.84 whip with 3 quality starts at the time. So right here, he's not in the greatest of divisions. The only scary team really is the Chicago White Sox, and they're starting to finally get their players back, like Reese Robert, Eloy Jimenez, we saw come back. Andrew Vaughn's been heating up, but Quantrill's gone out there, and he's mowing down the competition over the last month here. So August 1st at Chicago, 6 innings, 3 hits, no runs, no decision, 4 walks, 6 Ks, a 1.17 whip, and a quality start. August 6th versus Detroit for Quantrill, 7 innings, got the win, 4 hits, no runs, 10 Ks, 0.57 whip, and a quality start. So his last 2 outings, he hasn't given up a run, is Quantrill. And like I mentioned, right now he's on a hot streak, and he's in a division where there's not many great teams. So right now, if you could go get him on your fantasy wire, it's an easy pickup in my opinion, and he's available in the 49% of fantasy leagues here as Quantrill. So go out there and get him. The next pitcher I looked at this week's James Capryon of the Oakland Athletics. So he had a short stint on the injured list, but he came back pretty quickly here. And he's been good most of the seasons, Capryon, and he's only available in 44% of fantasy leagues on the season, 78 1/3, 6-4 record, 60 hits, 28 earned runs, 11 homers, 29 walks, 83 strikeouts, a 3.22 ERA, a 1.14 whip, and 7 quality starts on the season. So he's got a lot of upside. We've seen some big games out of him this season, and right now he's back in action. In the last couple weeks, 10 1/3, 1-1 record, 10 hits, 8 earned runs, a homer, 3 walks, 10 Ks, a 6.97 ERA, and a 1.26 whip with a quality start. But right here, He had that one bad outing before he went down, but now he came back and he had a good game yesterday versus the Texas Rangers. So the last couple outings for him, July 27th at San Diego, 4 1/3, got the loss, 7 hits, 6 earned runs, a homer, a walk, 6 Ks, 12.46 ERA, a 1.85 WHIP. And then August 8th yesterday, like I mentioned, 6 innings, got the win, 3 hits, 2 earned runs, 2 walks, 4 Ks, 3 ERA, and 0.80 WHIP, and a quality start. So right here, Capryon, he's one of the better pitchers on this Oakland A staff. And he's a guy that should be owned in most fantasy leagues. But now coming off the injury pretty quick and back into the rotation yesterday, he's a guy that's going to be added quickly on your waiver wire. So right now you should go out there and add him before he's owned in 70% of fantasy leagues, because this guy's got a good strikeout rate. He's been a good pitcher, and he's pitching for a contender where he's got a decent amount of wins as well. The next pitch, Webb of the San Francisco Giants. So Webb here, he's a pitcher I've been talking about a lot over the last couple weeks. And this Giant team, they're the best team in Major League Baseball this season, and this guy's a big part of it, in my opinion. On the season, 79 innings, 5-3 record, 68 hits, 28 earned runs, 7 homers, 24 walks, 82 strikeouts, a 3.19 ERA, a 1.16 WHIP, and 7 quality starts on the season. In the last couple weeks here for Webb, 18 innings, 1-0 record, 13 hits, 4 earned runs, 2 homers, 3 walks, 17 strikeouts, a 2 ERA, and an 0.89 WHIP with 3 quality starts in the time here for Logan Webb. So Webb, he's gone out there, he's pitched well here. And this is what you want to see out of these pitchers, especially in a tough division like that NL West with the Dodgers, the Giants, obviously, that he's on, the Padres, the Rockies. They could still swing the bat and hit the ball. But Webb, he's gone out there the last 4 or 5 starts, and he's really dominated. So the last few starts for him, July 27th versus the Dodgers, 6 innings, no decision, 3 hits, 1 run, a walk, 5 Ks, a 1.50 ERA, 0.67 WHIP, and a quality start. August 1st versus Houston, 6 innings, got the win, 7 hits, 2 runs, a homer, a walk, 3 Ks, a 3 ERA, a 1.33 WHIP, and a quality start. In August 6th at Milwaukee, 6 innings, 3 hits, a run, a homer, a walk, 9 Ks, a 1.50 ERA, and an 0.67 WHIP with a quality start. So right here, Logan Webb, he's gone out there, and he's pitched the baseball well, no doubt about it. He's still available somehow in 53% of fantasy leagues. And in my opinion, he's an easy add this week is Webb on the wire. So go out there and get him. The next pitch is Vladimir Gutierrez of the Cincinnati Reds. So he was on the waiver wire list last week, and he's made it once again here is Gutierrez. So he got called down for a little, but he's came back with a vengeance. And on the season, 73 2/3, 7-3 record, 68 hits, 34 earned runs, 13 homers, 31 walks, which has been a problem, 52 strikeouts, a 4.15 ERA, and a 1.34 WHIP with 8 quality starts in the time here for Gutierrez. But now the last couple weeks, he's 19 in the 3rd inning, 3-0 record, 14 hits, 4 earned runs, 2 homers, 6 walks, 15 Ks, a 1.86 ERA, and a 1.83 WHIP with 3 quality starts in the time. So Gutierrez, he's gone out there and he's mowing down the competition. And like I mentioned, this NL Central isn't the greatest of divisions. Just pretty much Milwaukee and the Cardinals you got to worry about. But he's come back, he's pitching great baseball, and he's a player that needs more respect, in my opinion, in fantasy baseball. He's still available in 77% of fantasy leagues, is Gutierrez. And he's on a Cincinnati Red team that definitely has a shot here of possibly catching the Brewers. They've been red hot. Joey Vado's been leading this team. And Gutierrez, he's been one of their better starters over the last month. July 27th at Chicago, 6 1/3, got the win, 5 hits, 2 runs, a homer, giving up 3 walks, 5 Ks, a 2.84 ERA, 1.26 WHIP, and a quality start. August 1st at the Mets, 7 innings, got the win, 3 hits, a run, a homer, giving up 2 walks, 4 Ks, a 1.29 ERA, 0.71 WHIP, and a quality start. And August 7th versus the Pirates, 6 innings, got the win, 6 hits, 1 run, a walk, 6 Ks, a 1.50 ERA, and a 1.17 WHIP with a quality start. So he's going out there, He's pitching very quality games and pitching great games. And he's a guy that should be owned in way more fantasy leagues, in my opinion. And his next outing is August 12th at the Atlanta Braves. Pitch I look to add this week's Jonathan Louisa of the New York Yankees. So one of their former top prospects a few seasons ago. He just hasn't panned out. But now he might have found something new for the Yankees here, pitching out of the bullpen this season here is Louisa, because they really haven't used him as a starter. And on the season, 54 and a third, 8-4 record, 4 saves, 46 hits, 15 earned runs, 2 homers, 11 walks, 53 strikeouts, a 2.48 ERA, and a 1.05 whip of the last couple weeks here for Louisa. 6 and a third, 1-0 record. He's got 2 saves, 5 hits, a walk, 7 strikeouts, no runs given up, and an 0.95 ERA. So right here, his latest outing, he did get a save on August 7th. And right now, maybe he could be pushing for Aroldis Chapman to get saves here. And it's definitely got fantasy owners' attentions. They've added him in 8% of fantasy leagues over the last couple weeks here. Here's Louisa. And we know the struggles Chapman's had this season. And Louisa here, he's been a guy on the radar and one of the best relievers in the Yankees bullpen this season. So right now, I wouldn't jump the gun too crazy on my fantasy roster. But right now, while he's getting a couple save opportunities and big opportunities for this team, he's definitely a guy to keep an eye on. And in deeper leagues, if you really need saves, you go out there and get him, because he's on a good team like the Yankees. The Yankees are heating up, and he's going to get a lot of save opportunities, in my opinion, if he officially becomes the closer. But right now, it looks like kind of a timeshare between him and Chapman. And Chapman, we know he's been erratic at times this season. So Louisa, if you're real desperate for saves, or just a good reliever that could go out there and give you scoreless innings, he's definitely a pickup this week. And he's available in 59% of fantasy leagues, is Louisa. The next pitcher is Johnny Cueto of the San Francisco Giants. So another guy on the list last week has made it again here on the season for Cueto. 104 innings, 7-6 record, 109 hits, 46 runs given up, 14 homers, 24 walks, 92 strikeouts, 3.98 ERA, and a 1.28 whip with 4 quality starts on the season in the last couple weeks here for Cueto. 16 innings, 1-1 record, 15 hits, 6 earned runs, a homer, 7 walks, 15 Ks, a 3.38 ERA, and a 1.38 whip. So Cueto, he's on one of the best teams in the major leagues here with the Giants. And we know we don't go that deep into games anymore. He's a 5-6 inning pitcher at best right now, but he's still on a good team. He still goes out there, gives you some numbers, and can pitch the baseball. And he's a guy that easily could add as a back-end starter to your rotation on your roster. And there's way worse options I've seen on fantasy teams this season. And right now, Johnny Cueto, he's available still in 57% of fantasy leagues. So the last few outings for him, July 29th versus the Dodgers, 5 2/3 got the win, 4 hits, 2 walks, 5 Ks, no runs, a 1.06 whip. August 3rd at Arizona, 5 innings, got the loss, 6 hits, 2 runs, 4 walks, 7 Ks, a 3.60 ERA, and a 2 whip. And August 8th, yesterday in Milwaukee, 5 1/3, 5 hits, 4 runs, a homer, a walk, 3 Ks, a 6.75 ERA, and a 1.13 whip. So right here, the only down thing for him, he's not really getting quality starts, and his ERA's been fluctuating over the last few games and how many runs he's been giving up total. But right now, like I mentioned, he's on a first-place team. He's still going out there and compete, and he still has some upside, in my opinion, as well as Cueto. So right now, I will go out there and get him on your waiver wire. The next pitcher I look to get is Lucas Gill of the New York Yankees. So he's come out of nowhere, this kid, for the Yankees here over the last couple weeks, and he's been sent up and down over the last 2 times out here that the Yankees could situate their roster. But so far in the early going for Gill, 11 innings, 1-0 record, 6 hits, no runs, 3 walks, 14 strikeouts, an 0.82 whip, and a quality start. So great 2 first starts of the season. And right now they sent them down after the ball game yesterday, is Gill. But I think they just need that for a roster spot. No way they're going to not bring this guy back up and keep him pitching after the first 2 outings of his career where he hasn't given up runs, and where the Yankees desperately need starting pitching, especially with Garrett Cole on the COVID list. Kluber, he's still injured, as well, and also Montgomery on the COVID list. So right here, the Yankees need all the starting pitching they could get. And Louis Gill right now, he's definitely gone out there and pitched great for this New York Yankee team. And he's a pitcher available still in 72% of fantasy leagues. So right now, I know he got dropped, but if I'm a fantasy owner, I'm not dropping him. Like I mentioned, there's no way Gill is going back to the minors until he comes back in 4 or 5 days to start for this Yankee team. So the first 2 outings for him, August 3rd versus Baltimore, 6 innings, got the win, 4 hits, no runs, a walk, 6 Ks, a 0.83 ERA, and a quality start. August 8th versus Seattle, 5 innings yesterday, no decision, 2 hits, no runs, 2 walks, 8 Ks, and a 0.80 whip. So he's gone out there and he's pitched great baseball. Here is Gill. On the Yankees, they're definitely going to count on him, like I mentioned, with Cole, Montgomery, and Kluber out, even though those guys could return soon. But still, he's a guy that's gone out there, and he's been efficient, and he's been good. And there's no way they're just going to send him down and not give him another chance, especially not giving up any runs in his first 2 outings. The next pitch is Gregory Soto with the Detroit Tigers. So Soto, if you need some closer help, he's been a pretty decent closer this season. Nothing special, and right now he's still available as Soto in 47% of fantasy leagues on the season, 4-2 record, 13 saves, 35 hits given up, 15 earned runs, 5 homers, 27 walks, 57 Ks, a 2.96 ERA, and a 1.36 whip on the season. In the last couple weeks for him, 5 2/3, 0-1 record, 2 saves, 5 hits, 3 runs, 2 homers, 5 walks, 9 Ks, a 4.76 ERA, and a 1.76 whip here for Soto. So Soto, he's gone out there, he's pitched well. On the Tigers, they've been improving a little over the last few games here, winning a few close ones, winning the ball games, and him getting save opportunities. So right now, if you need a guy who'll get you a couple saves here and there a week maybe, because Detroit, they don't win many ball games, he's a decent option with a low ERA, a low whip, and you don't really blow saves. So Soto is definitely an ad, in my opinion, this week. And the final pitcher I looked at on waivers this week's Kyle Finnegan of the Washington Nationals. So Finnegan, he was a hot closer pickup last week after the Nats traded pretty much their whole roster at the trade deadline. And once again, Finnegan's a recommended ad this week. He's still available in 52% of fantasy leagues. 45 innings, 4-3 record, 3 saves, 43 hits, 15 runs, 4 homers, 22 walks, 47 strikeouts, a 3 ERA, 1.44 whip in the last couple weeks here since he's been the closer. 7 innings, 1-1 record, 3 saves, 4 hits, no runs, 4 walks, 5 Ks, a 1.14 whip. So right here, Finnegan's, he's gone out there. He's pitched good baseball for this national team, and believe it or not, the Nationals, they've been in a lot of close ball games even since cutting their whole roster last week at the deadline. They've had some close games with the Braves. They're now going to verse the New York Mets, who've been a total train wreck, and lost 3 out of 4 to the Miami Marlins, and also got swept by the Philadelphia Phillies. So the Mets, they're free falling, and I could see Finnegan having a chance of getting 2 saves in this series versus the Mets. They're going to be close ball games. They usually are with the Mets and Nationals, no matter who's on which team's roster. And I think Finnegan could keep this going. He's a big pitcher, pitching well. And right here, the Nationals, they're trying to build for the future. And this guy definitely could be part of the future and definitely could be the closer if he continues things up. So if you need some cheap saves, I think he's a pretty decent ad this week. So that's a few pitches I looked at on the waiver wire here in Week 18 of the fantasy baseball season.